All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back once again here to the B stream for the IEM Katowice group stages. Group B continues its chaotic play, and as we get into our next match here, it's going to be Na'Vi versus Heroic. This one going on to Overpass, of course. Na'Vi down at a 2-1 record. Heroic unfortunately sinking down a little bit here, but there's still room for them to try and recover now, especially if they can take a victory off of one of the big teams like Na'Vi. Metas is still with me. Metas, let's talk a little bit about going into this match now.
Yeah, I mean, you pretty much summarized it really well, but both teams still have every opportunity to qualify and get through to the last three teams. I think now that VP are back onto winning ways, they've just won 2 in a row. They just knocked down SK. It was a lot more labor than they were hoping for. I think at one point it was like 14-4, but they narrowly won 16-14 on the end of Inferno. That it does open this up nicely, and Heroic could potentially get themselves through. They already have wins today, and so do Na'Vi. So I think, is it mathematically impossible now for SK to qualify, or is it still possible? Because I'm not entirely sure. I know they're 1-3, but if they go 2-3, is there a way there could be a tie for like 3rd place?
I don't think that would be. I think that involves. I don't know. That's way too complicated to figure out for a quick reply. Unfortunately, I need like a good 3 minutes to figure that out for you.
Yeah, that's the nature of the group though. Like in Group A, we had Optic that obviously went 0-5. And Nip went 0-4 until the very end. So we had a pretty solid idea that both of those were eliminated, and it was easier for us to figure out sort of like who would be the other team that would be knocked out, which ended up being Fnatic. But in this group, because it's been just so hectic and so many mad results have been coming out, it's really hard to say. But yeah, what we do know is both Heroic and Na'Vi can win. Right now, Na'Vi are 2-1, Heroic are 1-2. So we shall see an Overpass which of these two comes out on top. Heroic will be starting on the T side, Na'Vi of course on the CT side, and you're expecting to see Na'Vi post up a pretty decent score on this half.
All right, well, let's get into it, folks. Let's take a look and see what Heroic has to offer us for their T side. Pretty standard in terms of the buy for the opener here. A little bit of smoke to give them some utility for their execute, but beyond this, spreading their wings across the map. And Guardian, well, he's going to challenge them right from the get-go here as he tries to push over there towards the fountain. Just a quick push, though, after not really spotting anything. Firing off a couple shots there as he spots. Well, he sees one player crossing over towards playground, but not seeing the whole bulk of the push. He does fall back. Whereas on the Heroic side, they've got the bomb position just outside of Monster, and quite a few of their other players are moving back down through T-spawn to regroup outside of that position too.
Yeah, just waiting outside of the Monster side of the map right now. This is where the USBs typically can get a couple of shots on the approach, but I think it was Flamey that missed a few shots, but Simple will come in, trying to make amends for their previous loss. Seas is going to be landing himself the kill alongside Simple. It's actually Simple that takes it from underneath him. They don't care too much, but the bomb has been planted. It's looking likely that the retake will come to fruition, though, as Nico's been caught in the backside. And now Snappy has been struggling today with his P250 and a 1-on-3. This would be quite the clutch if he pulled it off, but it seems like it is just going to be Seized holding onto the defuse. He has a kit, so only 5 seconds. Na'Vi will get the retake.
And they will start off strong here on this next match. Again, really looking to push their record forward. Still 2-1, can very quickly get themselves up to 3-1, which is going to be in a somewhat safe position. Definitely not guaranteed just yet, but I think it's kind of bordering on getting to that point here too. Again, all of it depends on the records from the other 5 teams in the group, though, so nothing is certain until we finish off our last games and know for sure what the records are going to look like, or just get to that final stage, which is going to be coming up after this. We have this sequence of games, and I think there is the Cloud9 SK game, if I recall correctly, that's going on over on the other stream right now. One of those two, something like that. Then
That's correct.
After that one, we have the last 3 games. All 6 teams are going to play their matches at the same time, and once we get to that point, we should have a much clearer idea of the scenarios that can unfold as we get into that match.
Yeah, I think on the other one, it's Cloud9 and North are playing each other.
Oh yeah, sorry. North.
And then, I mean, that obviously is going to have huge bearing on the groups, because they're both 2-1 as it stands right now. But as you say, I mean, all these teams can really do is not bother about, you know, the maths equation side of it, and just focus on getting a win. I mean, that's ultimately all they need to do right now. And it's going to be Moddy who comes through first with the Tech 9. Minimal damage inflicted from the nade that went into Monster, a little bit too deep to really deter any of these pushes. And the bomb now will start to get planted. Another retake in, and with these kind of a weaponry of Tech 9s and a Deagle, Heroic could be quite difficult to force off the site.
There's also going to be Madi being quite a menace in the corner here, too. And Navi may not expect that as Edward will have to go for this peek eventually. They do swing back out. There's Madi impacting immediately, and then he bulldozes through for another one. Yugi even winning back down over here in water with his teammate to hold that one back off. Now, Flamey did get up to the site, tapping onto the bomb. Molotov's going back out, but the T's own Molotov blocks their path. So Flamey just cleans that one up. That was weird, and we're going to see him have plenty of time for this 10-second defuse.
I think where the wooden panels connect to the fence, I'm pretty sure he hit the Molotov there. He was hoping to bounce it off the fence onto the site. Now that seems like kind of trivial, but actually that lost him the round, because if the molly lands on the site, Flamey can't defuse. There's no way he defuses that bomb, so he just got CSGO'd hard, mate. Get wrecked.
So did it, like... I didn't look at the line. Did it, like, bounce in a weird way off of the fence or something like that? Because it looked like he threw it normally.
There's like where the wooden panels connect to the fence, I think there's a little bit of a sort of like a wall that comes out. I think it hit off that, and it just came straight back at them. Very strange though. You don't often see that happen.
That's one to take a look at in the demo. So for Navi here again, holding the advantage, getting away from the heroic upset there. As again, they were looking good, specifically with Madi's position up in heaven there. They did not expect that at all. So that really threw, a wrench in the gears of Navi there and trying to pull off that retake. But then the unfortunate series of events that allowed for Edward to be able to pull off the defuse there puts Navi right back in control of the situation, albeit with heavy losses. So it's good for Heroic to try and keep the money low when they do get onto the first gun round. Hopefully try and swing things back pretty quickly.
After getting another bomb plant and taking so many players down with them. Interestingly, Yogi's actually using a CZ on the T side. It's not something you often see. Typically, Tech 9 is considered a way better pistol. But it's going to be Nico with his Tech 9 that goes in. Valda also has one that's coming in with alongside Modi, and so much damage is being inflicted. The Tech 9s are cleaning house. It's all on Simple. There's a smoke in his eyes. He's going to get the first spray. And both players are low. It's just down to how's the position looking. Plus the fact that Simple doesn't have a smoke is going to make this a little bit more difficult. He does have a kit, so he could really play the mind games now with Heroic if he sticks on the site.
Yugi's going to be sneaking up through construction. There's the first one there, but Yugi closes out with the CZ. Nicely done from Heroic there. Back up to 2-1, immediately upsetting against Navi. And again, keep in mind how low they were. So they're not going to have excess cash to go right back into rifles and whatnot anymore. They're just going to have to go for pistol armor upgrades and maybe one SMG or two in the mix there.
Well, after I was saying, like, it's strange he uses CZ, he comes around and just cleans the head of Simple, just destroys him. Then I was a CZ and the Deagle in play for Navi, and that's after they narrowly escaped in the second round. So it's been quite a rocky start for the CTs here. And Heroic have every chance to start to get themselves back into this half and maybe even leapfrog over Navi, whose economy isn't looking too shabby. Or at least it won't be in the next round. They should have a bye. As for this one, surely Heroic take it, Blue. Like, if they lose from here, this is going to be a massive whiff.
Yeah, I mean, I was actually surprised Navi didn't go for a more of aggressive buy, since it's, again, it was really just Tech 9s that they lost to, so they could try to upset directly after that. But not the case. They actually kind of give respect to Heroic in that regard, and they're just going to light buy into this one, or in the case of Guardian and Seas, they don't buy at all. They're going to let Heroic tie it back up, and I think they'll try to buy in the next round, possibly. We'll see how much money they have. They'll still be a little bit low, but it'll be a much better force if they did it there.
Simple first player to fall in this round, the fourth. And it seems that Heroic have going to keep a little bit of presence felt on the B side of Modi and make sure no one can wrap themselves through connector while the rest of the team is maneuvering towards the A side of the map. And considering that there is absolutely nobody defending it other than Edward now, who is going to be smoked off. Originally he was moving on the B side. This is going to be a free plant. Can he get any kills afterwards though? Can he get this into an interesting territory? I don't think so. This could be Heroic winning out. Seas has got a USP kill onto Modi though elsewhere on the map. So that's an AK trading hands into the CTs.
He'll pick that one up. And for most of Heroic, again, they're not really looking to hunt these ones down. Keep in mind, again, they just started building up themselves, so their money's not really in a good position to go out and hunt down, just upgraded pistols, or in the case of Guardian, nothing, just the kills themselves. The kill reward isn't that big. For Seized, he's very detached from the action, so we're not really going to see a great opportunity for Heroic to even attempt to swing in and drop that AK out, because they kind of just have to let that one slide, unfortunately. And be happy with just taking control of the round and not being able to knock out these other 4 players.
So having picked up the AK, they can drop that to Simple, who can now get full nades. Beforehand, he had 3,700, so he was looking at a really poor buy. Potentially even down to a UMP or a FAMAS. So that is pretty massive. 2 for 2. All even after the pistol was taken by Na'Vi in a retake. The flashes are being exchanged in mid, so Simple could go for this peek afterwards, and indeed he shall. There isn't that many players there, and there's going to be a smoke in the eyes as well. Nico very close to being headshot. That spray wasn't too far off him. And Simple now just going to be turning tail and running away after flashing. Didn't want to stick around in balloons. It's very much out in the open.
Simple again going to be falling back with C's position here. They'll do a little bit of a boost up. Breaking the windows in the process. As Heroic do trying to push themselves forward over here. Looks like they're going to be going mainly for long control though instead of short. And the Molly trying to get them away from the stack up here, but it's not really going to work out. Simple's actually watching for connector rotations, but after Heroic initially had gone really all in on that long play, all 4 of them that were upstairs right now pushed in, they call it back. They're all going to fall back and possibly regroup with Monty, who's sitting just outside of Monster right now.
Yeah, he's been there quite a few times. Even in the round they knew that they'd be up against pistols, he likes to look around here. It's very reminiscent of someone like Angel, who plays overpass a lot. He likes to look outside of short. Monster, even if his team are fully aggressing on A or B, he always comes here. And so it gives them a little bit more information on those rounds when they're not even hitting B. Here come the Molly. He's going to be trying to make sure no one's around the barrel. Sees from the backside. He's going to get the drop on Valda, but can't convert into the kill. And the Molly will stop him from pushing out there as well. So his position is known. But Guardian and Simple are going to town with frags. And now it's all on Snappy, who is still yet to get himself a kill on this map. With 15 seconds to go. A whole bunch of angles to watch.
Keep himself behind sandbags here, catching one. Oh, almost flicking back over for the second one. But at 13 HP, it's going to be rough to make an attempt at this one. So Na'Vi do close it out, with C's getting the final frag there. And Na'Vi will be able to retake control of their advantage. 3-2. And Heroic buy into this one, but it is a bit iffy again. Mainly going to be lacking of utility. Valde and Snappy, Yugi are good, but for Madi and Nico, they have to downgrade to quite a large degree already, since they never really built up their money.
Two, 3 formation right off the bat for Heroic. Not huge surprises of what he's going to the B side, but he is joined by Nico. Also taking connector control, although Seized is here in the upper part of connector. They've lost the first player to the hands of Guardian. That's going to be Aldo, who is a big part of the aggressive unit of Heroic, but still Seized in connector with a very forward Simple, and also they had themselves a player on long, which has been found out and picked off. 3-on-3, and the bomb's still in connector.
Still good control for Na'Vi at this point. As you mentioned, the bomb's still sitting back down in connector with essentially 0 control for Heroic right now. Everyone's stuck back downstairs in the tunnels, and Yugi at the entrance to the playgrounds. Whereas Nico's kind of stuck in limbo over there in between Monster and water control. But it does appear as though most of these players here from Heroic are going to end up grouping up with Nico here and trying to make some sort of B push. Na'Vi have basically just expected this, so they're getting ready for it with Guardian and C's position on site and Simple, just waiting along in the event that they would rotate back upstairs and try to play it over towards A.
Snappy lining up the smoke, which I'm assuming is for Heaven, just outside of Monster. Both the players of Na'Vi unorthodox to both be out here in the water itself. Now here come the flurry of nades. The set play is certainly being placed firmly on B. It's all about the frags at this point, and Seized has gone down first alongside Guardian. The B defenders have been quelled. And now with the bomb plant, Simple has the very difficult task of retaking against Yugi, Nico, and Snappy.
Yeah, Simple being smoked off here, so he does have to wait a few moments. And again, no utility for this retake. So Heroic are in good shape to really close this one out. Simple's got a kit, so he can tap onto the bomb a little bit there and waste more time in trying to wait for these players to actually peek themselves. Snappy spotted him though, so they know where he's going to be positioned. And I think with that, he's just going to bail out. It's not really worth it now that they know where he's playing from, so they have the ultimate advantage over him, and it's much better to just carry that AK into the next round.
Yeah, definitely the worthwhile investment going through into that next round. Definitely the right decision. But this is going to put Heroic back into all even again. And although Simple has an AK, there's really nothing else that Na'Vi have on offer. With $1,700 and a couple of players, no real reason for them to force either. They can just go for an eco. We'll see though. Maybe that AK will give them a few more options in their mind. I always feel it's kind of a scenario it's better to play safe. You're still only about halfway through this first half, so about a quarter of the way through the game. And a force spike, this kind of scenario could really throw your entire half off kilter. So I'm totally on board with them just saving with this AK and playing it smart with him.
Yeah, and for Heroic again, very, very passive on the opener here, not wanting to move in quickly to take short or long control at all. They're perfectly fine with just corralling over here towards the playground area and the entrances to like the party and that sort of entrance to short A. Now, though, after the time does go down a little bit, they will move back in. Edward caught jumping a little bit there. Brought down to 67 HP, but I'm sure he got a glimpse of what was working its way out from long, so he's going to call for reinforcements. Flamey, to oblige to that, is going to rotate back up. And in the meantime, still a 3-stack down here on B.
Keeping things simple, keeping things straightforward. Speaking of the man simple, he is still boosted up, still watching towards short, but also connector. If that door opens, he'll try and tag up whoever's through there. This could also allow the player that's boosting him at this point, which is going to be seized, to maybe get himself into connector and retrieve the lost weapon for Heroic. But they are starting to execute onto the A side. Footsteps are heard by Simp. You can see him just looking up there to make sure that his directional sound is on point. And then Edward behind the site with the USP is going to try and hold off while that AK gets into position. The bomb, though, is now making a move back through connector. So even in this round, where Heroic have the huge firepower advantage, they're still trying to play this one smart with these rotations. Simple, though, it's going to spray through the smoke. But not too much time left. All it took was a flurry of kills, and that could have put Heroic out the round. But as soon as Simple dies, that pretty much is B with him. The bomb now will be planted.
Well, Heroic getting that onto the ground, and again, the AK already gone from Na'Vi. There is not really much that Edward, Flamey, and Seized were going to be able to do in post-plant. So down to Seized now. Ooh, actually had a good angle against Valia, but just couldn't find the headshot properly. So Heroic got to close out. They take back the lead. Building up a bit of a bank here, but nothing too significant yet. And for Na'Vi, they want to buy in here and try to break them. They certainly can attempt that, although they'll have to go for at least one more round before they get to that point. But I think they actually are just going to half buy here, since they're kind of on the brink right now.
Well, clearly it goes without saying that Heroic are in a great position. They're on the overpass T side against Na'Vi. They already have 4 rounds, and it's likely to be a whole lot more than that, considering this is just pistols and a Kevlar here or there. So 5 rounds potentially. Na'Vi will be a little bit worried. And considering they just lost their last game, if they were to lose this, it would be 2-2, and they'd be drawing with a whole bunch of teams. So after a 2-0 start, they are definitely on the brink of letting that one slip. But it is going to be a boost once again, this time out in the open of the sewage. Just looking into connector.
And Heroic are just proceeding out through long here now to try and get that control leading up towards A. Heroic really... I mean, overall, both these teams are giving a lot of respect to each other with regards to the early portions of the round here. We're not seeing a lot of early aggression from the Na'Vi side, and it's kind of the same thing from Heroic in that they're actually expecting that aggression, so they're holding back. Now, that'll change a little bit here right now as Flamey, boosted up on top of his teammate, is going to grab the kill inside of the connector. That kills Valde, and Flamey just goes full throttle, man. He pushes back in there, tries to find the kill into Nico, but he gets the better of him in that case. He'll lose half of his HP, but still... Now this will send Heroic probably upstairs. At least in the case of Snappy it will. And they're going to re-execute onto A.
Again, being very fluid through connector, this is one of the reasons why CT controlling it can make all the difference. 25 seconds in which to play with. Heroic are running out of time. They have to now commit onto this site. They're going to get the opening pick. That Simple dead buried. His Deagle will not play any further part in this round alongside Guardian, who also falls. Seized is in connector, and Edward... Billy no mates in bank, coming out with his Deagle. Could get the drop on Yugi, but Snappy, his Spidey senses are tingling, goes for the peek, and will be rewarded with a kill. So 5-3 will indeed be the scoreline, but at least Na'Vi keep an AK in play.
Yeah, C's is going to be kind of falling back over here now. Try and see if we can keep that AK, as you mentioned, in play for the following round. Heroic actually all over the place, so that might prove a little bit difficult. Nico, I'm imagining, should be an easy target to take down at 7 HP. Oh no. Hiding behind the tree. Did C's realize it? He sees him there. Looking for the good shot. He's got it. There we go. The execution onto Nico to eliminate him. And I don't really think anyone else is in good enough range here. Actually, I correct myself. No, they're going to try to push out, but still. As long as he hides behind that rock, I think he's safe.
Yeah, smart. Also, he's trying to line up that shot on tree because, of course, we have the benefit of knowing the player's on 7, but for all he knows, he's on 100. and wants to make sure he gets that kill clean so he has a better chance at saving the AK. So it was intelligent play in the end. Full buy on the hands of Na'Vi. Heroic are going to be coming straight back in this one with an AWP and AKs to boot. Full nades, 4 mollies, one of which just got thrown actually, so it was 5 originally. Guardian is being tagged up as he goes quickly for the peak, but now he's all on an island by himself because of the molly, but he doesn't get avenged just yet. Edward will put down Valda, but Modi will finally get his man and now look to aggress onto the site, but he's by himself. And maybe went too aggressive. I'm not sure if that was a lapse in communication, but he effectively went out 1v3 on the site. That didn't work out too well.
Now for Heroic again, stuck in water. Still trying to force their way up over onto the B bomb site. I think they're going to try to boost Yugi up on top of Snappy. But nice spray from Edward. I think he actually predicted that. Just the timing on it was off. So falling back and Yugi really not given a chance. Even Snappy getting spotted there too. They didn't realize that Yugi got boosted up, though, but at the same time, you can see from his perspective, he's not being fed anything at all. And we'll just turn the X-ray off for a moment to see that better. He did spot one of the players towards Toxic, as he destacked himself, but C still gets the better of him when it comes down to the duel. So now for Snappy, what hope does he have? Not much, as he turns his back at the wrong time, and it's going to allow Edward to take him down.
Back in with a buy, though, will be Heroic. Yugi with another sorry, not AK, AWP is what I was going for. But yeah, it was solid work again. I think there's lapse in communication with Modi going up by himself. I mean, they still had 3 players. They could have sort of congregated around, just reset and refreshed into the round there, but suddenly it was a 2-on-4, 2-on-5 scenario instead. Let's see if they can get it better done this time. Connector is going to see Simple. Molly in early. He does have Guardian there alongside him, so trying to take more active control. But no reason to be hanging around now. There's too many angles to cover. It's worth a peek and see if you can get that kill, but definitely not worth hanging around for much longer.
Yeah, Heroic again after running down the clock just a little bit here are going to be moving in to try and take short control. Guardian will actually contest this though, and oh, he gets hit by a flashbang, but he's still able to line up the shot against Nico. 5v4 advantage for Na'Vi. No map control really being gained yet for the Heroic roster, and Na'Vi even still has assets deployed further out. When you look at Simple at the edge of long here, waiting to see if they'll peek around the corner. And for Heroic, well, we won't see much from Simple. The Heroic guys are going to be grouping up, and it's going to be the B team here, Seized and Flamey, that will have their chance to shut down the hit from Heroic.
Whereas in previous rounds, Heroic were looking for more of a, well, just feel out what Na'Vi have and rotate. This time they don't have anyone in connector, so they can't be sure that avenue is open. They're going to have to go all in on B. And a flash is on point for the time being by Na'Vi. They've put 2 down into 1, so that kept Heroic at bay for another few seconds. 30 seconds left now, though, on the time, and it is going to be the steamroll onto the site. The bomb's going to get planted. It's a 4-on-4 retake. The position's pretty solid from the terrace. In actual fact, I think they're going to try and boost up into heaven. Yeah, Modi's going in for this one. He's just going to buy this time. There's no reason to peek it. Just sit there. You're not expecting anyone to check it. Guardian very likely will die if he comes through. If he survives long enough to even try for that one. He's still looking at Pillar. And as soon as he comes out, he is a dead man, surely. In fact, no, he dropped down!
Guardian.
Oh my god.
Moves back in and grabs that kill. Now it's just Yugi left alive, and he leaps out, almost gives his life away here, but Guardian doesn't have any time remaining. So Yugi just going to chase Guardian back out, and he has an easy shot to close onto the round, surfing away to safety. It will be Heroic that end up claiming the round at the end of the day, as they take a bit more of a lead here, 6-4. And in theory, probably going to have an easy expansion to 7-4, as I think Na'Vi can only go for just upgraded pistols in this round.
I genuinely thought that Modi would just sit there, like outside of heaven for ages, and Guardian was a dead man. But I guess the problem was that the screws were getting turned elsewhere on the site, so he had to turn his attention and divide it onto making sure the bomb just didn't get defused outright. Still, though, Na'Vi do concede the round after picking up one. So their economy is dead, and we have had a DC. No frags have came down, so it's going to be a stop and restart while we wait for the 5th Na'Vi member to get back on the server, which will be Simple.
Thankfully, no combat happened, so yeah, the round itself, as you mentioned, Menez, will just get reset with no contest on that one. So I'll pause it up really quickly and then get back into it in just a moment, as soon as Simple has gotten himself back into the match. But again, more interesting turns of events here for the groups. You know, Na'Vi starting off, stomping the competition previously with a 2-0 run, and then all of a sudden they're struggling against both of these Danish teams. What the hell's going on?
I wish I had answers for you, man. It's been quite the roller coaster today in Group B. I thought it'd be fairly straightforward. I thought Heroic would by and large be towards the bottom of the leaderboard. I thought SK, VP, and Navi would be firm favourites to go through, with maybe North taking down one of those two instead. I didn't expect Cloud9 to start the 2-0. I'm going to be straightforward and honest about that. It seems like they have started to dip a little bit. In the other game right now, the other Danish team of North, Cloud9 are trailing by 5-0 on Cobblestone on their CT side. So it's looking like they may be getting brought back down to earth again. But yeah, I mean, take nothing away from Heroic. They have performed very well indeed. They have been holding their own against all the teams they've played.
So basically, this group is going to become very chaotic very quickly. As I mean, even in its current state right now, right? You look at it, and there is a 4-way tie for first place in the current status of things, as there's 4 teams with 2 wins. Virtus Pro obviously a little bit further behind on that pack, since they have one more match played and they lost it, but still, the wins are what really matters. See, the losses obviously will become irrelevant once we get towards the end of it.
Yep.
And if Heroic upsets here, then we add another team to that formula, and that becomes a 5-way tie for first place. Someone else will push ahead, though, more than likely, obviously, as you have 2 of those teams playing currently, but still, the chaos continues, as there is no clear frontrunner in this group at its current state.
Well, as it stands, North and Na'Vi, if they both win their games, have a chance to both go 3-1 at the very top of the standings. So we'll have to see if that happens. Currently, North are in the lead. Obviously, Na'Vi are trailing. This round is looking like it should be another one for Heroic, but it's going to be an aggressive push by Seized all by himself, though. So he's not going to have anyone to flash him out. They didn't have a flash anyway, even if he wanted to. Guardian has the HE. It's going to be a 4-player stack on the B side, and Seized elsewhere has been found and picked off. And this is another reason why you play passive in these sort of rounds from a T's perspective. You don't want to be all rushing towards A, because then even if Seized dies, he gets loads of information. As it stands, what can he realistically tell you? Well, there's guys in playground. That tells you absolutely nothing about where Heroic are going to go in. And meanwhile, Modi, well, he's turned into the Terminator. 3 kills with the UMP, as easy as you'd like.
Guardian now alone, not a whole lot for him to do, and Heroic making minced meat of I almost said their full name, Navi, on this round here, since they are on the full eco. Guardian, let's see, has a good angle to try and take down Snappy's at least again, but no, denied. And Snappy just got to get the mid-air headshot against him.
I mean, that kind of is the most salty way to get denied, right? Like, just a jumping headshot. Just get swatted, mate. Just get smashed.
So that's going to set Heroic up to a 3-round lead now, but it also does take us into another buy round for Navi, as they are going to go for full M4s and whatnot. Still, though, like we've seen many, many times, not just in today, but yesterday, too, controlling the CT side economy is brutal, man. And Navi, even though we're so many rounds in, just getting reset these 2 times has put them in a position where when they actually do buy into these rounds, unfortunately, the utility is just not there. And again, they lose the early advantage. Madi gets aggressive over there by construction. He's able to push in and take down Seized.
And it has been a consistent theme of today as well. Typically, most of the victories that we've seen has been as a result of the T's getting a whole bunch of rounds. Every map we've casted, I think the T half has just had a much better performance. The CT's been constantly struggling. And what's going to tilt Seized is that at close range, his M4 came out second best against the UMP. He just got completely shattered. Modi still has 50 of his health remaining. So that trade going horribly against Na'Vi after they finally get another buy under wraps, but now struggling a little bit for utility. No defuse kits, 4 smoke flashes, and the 1 smoke, and it's going to be a long hit.
Snappy's going to try to chase Guardian, but he's a little bit behind it. Thankfully, Valde's able to cut him back off. At the same time, though, Edward finding those 2 kills up top before going down to Valde. Valde really is saving Heroic at this point in time. As Simple and Flamey do try to rotate back in, but they're both smoked off from their own angles, so it's clear for Heroic to plan. Flamey's got a little bit of an angle to work with, and oh, they actually didn't time those smokes properly, so Snappy was caught in the wrong position there. Valde and Madi able to trade. It's brought down to a 1v1 at the end of it, but Madi has a secure position, so he's able to secure it pretty quickly. 8-4 now, as Heroic double the scoreline of Navi.
Yeah, it's not even a case that Na'Vi would feel like they should force in because Heroic's economy's weak. They know that Heroic have won the last 3 rounds. Before that, they won another 3 rounds. Their economy is looking pretty set. They can afford to buy the next round anyway, and by forcing here, I mean, they could very well just play them out of the half completely if it backfires, which it likely will. So 8 rounds. Whatever happens, Heroic will be leading at half-time, which is a fantastic position to be on the T side of Overpass. It's not a map that the T's typically will rinse through the CTs on. And so Na'Vi's work is certainly cut out for them.
Snappy already finding the first kill here. Simple is going to look for some headshots there on the close angle, back down in the connector, but unsuccessful in doing so. Nico punishing Simple there to eliminate him. Now Flamey as well trying to hold on his own regard. He does succeed in pushing forward here to take down Madi. The next target will be found in the bathroom here, and it's Guardian. The mid-air shot against Nico to eliminate him. That knocks him down. He's going to probably fall back and watch in case anyone tries to push long to find the trade onto him. And well, he'll get that. Wow, Guardian, very well read. Takes down Snappy. And this brings it up to just 2 now for Heroic.
Oh, Yugi's ass just sticking out the side is going to cost him his life and the bomb plant. And it could very well cost Heroic the round. So that's kind of unfortunate. 45 seconds left. This would be a huge round for Na'Vi to take down, considering they had minimal investment into it. Looks like Valda will be able to get his hands on the bomb. But what he may not realize is that Flamey is lurking on long. And if he goes for that plant, he is going to be dead man. 30 seconds left. And this is a ballsy decision by Valda. He's going to rotate to B. That could be into the arms of C's, who's now heard footsteps. It's so unlikely that C's doesn't get this kill with a P250.
C's sitting back down, and well, there we go. Perfectly placed from C, just plays it quietly, and has no problem whatsoever getting the execution there, as he doesn't even give himself away. He won that race by a good 5 seconds or so did not have to give himself away. Heroic finally ending their bit of a winning streak here now, and Na'Vi back up on the board again, but they've got to be careful, because the past 2 times they have won, they've been reset. And it's put them right back onto a losing streak there, as Heroic have been able to combo that together. So Na'Vi never even really got buys together in the first place.
Well, Nade's already going into Monster. A lot of utility has been expended into Monster, and for very little reward. Heroic weren't opting to push. Of course, there's no way of Na'Vi knowing that. You don't often know until the players are already in your face whether you're going to get rushed on Monster. Another smoke goes in. Heroic will just be waiting, and they're already getting into position to set onto B. So they're lining up for smokes into the likes of Heaven, a Molly onto barrels, those kind of nades that you see so many times, just classic set play nades. And here we go. As soon as those nades are spotted, though, the CTs are going to know exactly what's coming up against them. Molly's going to get the opening pick onto C's. That Molly's going to start to chunk through players if they stay in Monster. And Molly rushing out into his demise by the hands of Flamey.
The rest of Heroic trying to push themselves up onto the site, but they did give time for Na'Vi to reposition too. So Flamey's falling back a little bit. He's playing it safe right now. Guardian chiming back in, as is Edward, but Edward's only going to be able to get 1. Snappy is in position to counter trade directly after that one, and Guardian sitting back down here too. He's got the angle. Snappy did sneak in the kill on Flamey, but Guardian, with a pixel shot almost against Snappy there, takes him out. Now it's Yugi, left alone. Doesn't realize that Simple's lurking back down by the pit, so he's going to run right up and destroy Yugi, giving Na'Vi the round as we head into the last round of the half.
Yeah, that was rough for Yugi. He missed a sitter of a shot there, which would have put it in a 2-on-1 in Heroic's favour instead, as the approach came through from the Graffiti side. So, I mean, Na'Vi, again, 7 rounds on CT side is not great, but considering where they were sat just 5-10 minutes ago, they would bite your hands off if you said, we'll give you 7 rounds this half. Sure, Heroic will be happier, but this does give Na'Vi a lot of room to play with on their T half. There's going to be Heroic playing for that 3-round lead. And all out on the Molotov is doing so much burn damage to them. Just chunking them through as they push. Yugi and Nico are going to be up close and personal with these CZs and Tech 9s in the next couple of moments. Dick has landed onto Edward, but running out of bullets at a alarmingly fast rate. We'll see Snappy, the last player, to die in this half. 7-8. Na'Vi will be relatively happy with that score.
Yeah, especially after Heroic did dominate them previously to this one and all the economical issues they were set up against. So many eco rounds for Na'Vi, unfortunately, so they didn't even really have that many chances to pick up actual gun round victories there. But ultimately, Heroic still control the scoreline coming off of their T side. And if they bring just as powerful of a CT side, then Na'Vi will still have something to worry about. We should be jumping into the second half here, guys, in just a second as soon as the players are ready up for it. And we'll see what Heroic has to offer us now on the other half of things.
Well, the battering continues on the mainstream. North 8-1 in the lead now on their T half of Cobblestone. So it's looking like they could very well go 3-1 in the groups. Na'Vi now have a chance to do exactly the same. Tech 9 on Edward. We'll hit the Kevlar and Seized and Simple, both with utility alongside Moddy on the side of Heroic. Tables has turned, of course. Heroic now on the CT side. And looking to push 2 players down into Connector. And they will meet some players. Edward the first one in with his Tech 9. And Heroic want no part of this. They want to scurry away.
Edward, though, is actually going to be caught between a rock and a hard place, as we can see. He's down in the connector now. He does have support from Simple a little bit further back, but they got to be careful. Snappy swings open the door. Thankfully, Simple's firepower is enough to hold him back. He does not go back in, and Edward will remain safe now, as most of Heroic did pull away from their own aggression over inside of the bathrooms there. They've backed up. They've given Na'Vi the room to grow if they want to try and push for a short A play. But as we see with most teams, they are still going to be favoring the approach leading into B. But there's contention here from two CTs and Monster. They've got Flamey and Guardian very, very low. Valdi and Snappy took some damage themselves, but they certainly got the better of the trade in that situation. Valdi, though, he's got to swing back, as now Edward and Flamey have picked up 2 kills. It's just Valdi sitting on the site, buying enough time for Yugi to try and rotate back down, but apparently there was a team kill in the process there, too. Flamey accidentally knocking out Guardian, more than likely here. Yugi's back down in the pit, and the guys from Na'Vi actually called this off. They're wrapping back up through connector, and they're going to make this an A play.
Yeah, it's just such a mess in Monster with players trying to tap through on the other side, and terrorists getting in each other's way. So much damage was inflicted on Na'Vi from Na'Vi, almost their worst enemies with themselves. 35, or just shy of 35 seconds left is coming up, as it's going to be Nico that spots a few players coming in his direction, seized onto the train. We'll be able to get this plant down. It's what happens after that really counts now, though, because Simple and Flamey are low, alongside Nico and Valda. But Nico does thread the shot into the head of C's, decapitates him, and now Simple in the 1-on-3, and the bomb's not even planted for him. He's going to have to go for a wide peek. At the moment, I think he's just playing for time, hoping they're going to fake it a couple times, and then come round, but it's going to be the stick. They had a kit in the hands of Valda, and Simple will die after the bomb's defused. 7-9.
Now, so it doesn't work out for Simple. And Heroic do get to keep the lead in their favor for right now, but with that plant, Na'Vi probably going to light buy or just save entirely here and out to go into the next round with a big purchase here. P250's picked up. Surprisingly, no smokes or anything like that to try and brute force their way into one of the sites and force the plant. They're just going to be going for those P250s, though, as again, the focus should be on the third round buy here.
Yeah, focusing all on the next round, going to be Na'Vi. Minimal investment once again. Just P250s, not even a Deagle. That does cost a fair chunk more than the P250. Heroic set up perfectly. I personally really like the 3 SMG2 assault rifle purchase that a lot of teams go for. I think you've got a good balance between the farming capabilities of the SMG, but then the sturdiness of the M4 should it come to those long-range confrontations. And so I think Heroic are just in prime position to hold this one off, really. It's hard to see how Na'Vi get anything done. They are going to be stacking a couple of players outside of Monster. Now the bomb is wrapping itself all the way around from Playground through Connector towards the B side. And it should be mentioned that it's only Snappy who's on B by himself, and he has a UMP at range. So it's very likely he can pick off 2 or 3 heads on the cross. They do have a couple of players in Heaven, but there is a possibility for maybe Na'Vi to just rush their way onto the site and get a cheeky plant, which honestly would be what their mission was to start off this round with.
He has a little bit of support from Valde up in Heaven, but it's actually going to be Nico that finds the first kill. Guardian tries to push in towards A. Doesn't really work out. Valde's also going to get the first volley of T-Fire in his direction here, too. But again, Na'Vi trying to get the bomb onto the ground. First player fails, and they're crushing it here. It's up to Flamey. He's not going to be able to find anything, as we do end up seeing Heroic close that one out without too much contest.
Yeah, I can definitely understand what Na'Vi were going for. Just throwing caution to the wind to try and get that plant down. That would have been a nice way of ticking through with a few more nades into this round. As it stands, it's going to be fairly bare-bones stuff. Maybe just one smoke to play with. I think Flamey has $450, so strangely enough, Flamey actually could have also picked up a smoke. And it doesn't seem much, but that could make quite the difference. Not sure if he just miscalculated or didn't realise, but it's going to hurt.
Na'Vi are just going to fall back, though, after they had this big group up here. Smoke's covering off the alt tunnel now. And Guardian kind of sticking around, but smoke will be applied on the Monster, and he's kind of going to abandon ship here, too, to fall back as the rest of Na'Vi shift themselves upstairs. Simple actually may go down in the connector, but that could prove fatal. Snappy waiting around the corner. I think Nico's up at the top of the steps, too. So he's got to be very cautious about how he treads through here. Moving through. Again, Snappy immediately taking him down.
Yeah, I had to tread lightly. Unfortunately, ice proved to be too thin. I think he really nailed himself in connector as well, kind of bounced awkwardly off the wall. And now if you're going to make the most of this, again, Heroic are guilty of leaving the site way too open. And Na'Vi will breeze through and get the free plant. That seems a little bit needless by Heroic. If you're setting up for the retake, then you have plenty of nades to do that and kits, but you can't allow Na'Vi to get into positions like this because they will punish you. 3-on-2. The positions, though, from Guardian and Flamey are solid, and Guardian's put it back to a 2-on-2. It's all even on this retake.
Nico picking up that kill now. It's 2v1. Flamey, though, catches Nico over-aggressing and then so casually swings back out into short A to shut down Madi. Nicely played by Flamey, and now Na'Vi are just 2 rounds away from tying this back up.
Yeah, it's times like that when I would really love to be able to sort of like hear the team comms and understand what's being said. Because I'd love to know what the call was from Heroic. Did they just hear incorrectly? Did they assume it was going to be a B hit? Because they completely vacated A. There was one player up around the garbage, but he was kind of rotating up via heaven. So Na'Vi just walked onto the site. They didn't even need nades, nothing. They just walked onto it, free plant, and then from there on in it was always the possibility of them clutching it.
They spotted all those players outside of Monster a few moments before that, so I guess they never really caught that they had all evacuated back through T-spawn and wrapped all the way up top, I guess, and maybe that's where they kind of misclassified the play, but it was still definitely, if they did do it based on that was definitely a big over-exaggeration, as, again, that happened only within the first, 20 seconds of the round, so there was still plenty of time for them to change that up into an A-hit, so definitely an overcall there on Heroic's part, and it'll cost them dearly, as, again, Na'Vi are right back into this match now. We have another close one. And for Heroic here, while they still have enough cash to buy into this one, it is going to be somewhat limited in regards to looking at like Yugi and Valde. Valde having to downgrade to be able to get utility. Some of the other CTs here, well, they're not really bringing a whole lot of HEs or Molotovs to the table. It's very basic when we look at their stacks of utility. And after this one, again, with the overall amount of money, they'll be saving if they do drop this one without any saves.
Oh, Edward not checking his right-hand side, and he will get punished for that one. I think he was assuming that Guardian already made his way through and had covered it for him. That's pretty awkward, but a 1-for-1 trade will favour Na'Vi on the approach with the plant going down afterwards. And from this point, Heroic, they could have the option of just saving. Honestly, I don't think they will go fully for the save, but if a player falls, I wouldn't expect to see the rest of them try and push in afterwards. And so with Snappy's death, I think that puts a big hand in the face of Heroic, and they decide to just save these M4s and the Deagle.
Everybody on Heroic is going to be peeling back and away from this one now. It looks like Madi's actually sticking up, and he's got a lot. He's got still his full utility kit and everything, so he's got security in his ability to hold off monster control, and this could actually sort of maroon Flamey here if he decides to stick around. He has no time to go back across the site, so he's just kind of got to go inside of the smoke. I think he's still good right here, though, so he definitely isn't going to die, but he's going to be close. Oh, Madi, though, sees him in the smoke, takes him down, and that's going to be another gun dropped away from Na'Vi.
Yeah, Na'Vi are able to replenish those weapons. It's not too much of an issue. I think the bigger issue would have been if Heroic started to lose weapons, because then they'd be looking at, instead of an extra UMP, maybe another player on a pistol. Maybe they even would have just decided not to buy overall. But yeah, Yugi's still into a Deagle. Currently bottom with 9 kills. Hasn't exactly set the world on fire this event so far. 2-player stack on B. One of which is Valda, the other is going to be Snappy. And with flashes landing in his face, he has to watch 2 separate angles all at once, and that is going to prove to be detrimental. Snappy does come through with 2 kills, but he's got 1 health, not for too much longer. The nade lands by his feet, and he's a dead man. Now Nico in a 1-on-3.
Now Nico, though, moving in and finding 1-2, and he almost gets the 3rd one. Sees just barely survives and clutches it out. Only with 6 HP at the end of the day, so almost a heroic moment from Nico himself, which would have allowed them to maintain their lead. It's not in the cards, though, and now Na'Vi do tie this back up at 10 rounds to all.
You've got to be gutted for Nico there. That would have been a sublime clutch. And last player, very low on health. I think they're saying it was 6 in chat. So it goes to show just how close he was to getting that clutch. Should have been a huge moment as well in this game. As it stands, it's 10-10. And after a lackluster start by Na'Vi, they have finally dragged it back. Yugi, well, there's the 1 tap.
Guardian just walks into his death there. It seems Yugi was ready for that one. So he's going to pick up that first kill. Ooh, he tries to line up another one here, too. He used also his tag before this, down to 31 HP. So already some decent damage done by Heroic. Unfortunately, again, the gunpowder is really not there all that much for the entire team here. So it's still a big advantage for Na'Vi. And we can see Yugi trying to test his luck again with a big long peek, but that's not going to pan out very well for him. Edward and Simple both racking up some kills. Simple's down in the connector over there. And for the guys on Na'Vi, it does look like they may try to initiate this push at any moment with Flamey moving in, picking up 2 kills. Only 1 remains. It's going to be Madi here. He actually probably has a pretty good chance of taking down Flamey, but oh, Flamey goes back and Madi, all right, if I can't get him, I'll just take Simple down. So eliminates him, and again, even though it's going to be a bit of a mute point at the end of the round, still some good stuff to do some damage to Na'Vi overall here.
But Modi's nearly taken down Seized as well. What is happening here? He must be very low on bullets. Yeah, he's only got 5 left. One of the curses of using the CZ. But hey, nearly takes himself Seized, which would have been an AK into his hands. I'm sure he would have tried to save that. As it stands, though, he's going to go in and see how much more of a nuisance he can be. This should be the round going to Na'Vi once again.
5 bullets left, and then it's a knife fight for Madi. We'll see what he can do here. Unfortunately, I doubt he's going to be able to accomplish all that much, though there may be another gun from on the ground somewhere to try and work with.
There's a deagle to his right-hand side. I don't know if he's seen it or not.
Yeah.
Just behind him now. There we go. He's looking straight at him, the corpse of his teammate.
I think he's actually trying to move out and just try to get more kills here.
Yep.
So he'll go for Flamey first. Oh, and Flamey just turned around now. So a tentative battle indeed, but Flamey, oh, he gets out of there just in time. The timing on that works out great for Na'Vi. Now Madi's doing a bit of a chaotic chase, but he actually does get the kill. Goes down after that, but he was out of ammo anyway, so nothing really lost there.
Yeah, really not bad, honestly. Madi taking down a kill with him at the end. I feel sad for him, though. Again, he's so close to killing Seized on the B site earlier, which would have definitely had him reaping the AK. But Heroic do go behind, which is the first time, I think, since maybe the first couple of rounds that they've gone behind. So it's been quite some time that Na'Vi have been trailing.
He's also waiting to see if anyone's going to try to push their way out from Monster on the Heroic side. Not going to be happening. And Na'Vi just play it nice and slow at the beginning of this round. You can see their players corralling outside of the playground there, but not really wanting to move anywhere else. As the 2 more inside of Connector, Simple and Seized falling back from the Monster position and hanging out around there. They will, I imagine in a moment here, move in to regroup, but we're actually probably going to see a bit of a battle here for long, depending on what Nico decides to do. He's got the flower pot, and right now he's just got his eyes stuck on that. If they try to boost someone up on top looking for a pick to an Opera that would be positioned around the corner. That Opera is there. It's Yugi, but Nico with this pop flash, he tries to go for it. Guardian was not affected by the flashbang, though, and he bails out both of his teammates because of that.
Nico just got flat out denied. That was looking like he could have even picked up both of them because he flashed both of them on the long side. But as he said, Guardian just not deterred whatsoever. And so the kill will go his way. Yugi using that smoke to his advantage to try and peek through the short side. Very close to landing it onto Edward. That would have been quite the moment there if he landed it. Instead, though, Edward will be pushing his way out of the smoke. He has help behind him and also to his right-hand side from short. The trade's going back and forth. Modi comes through with 2 kills. And now it's all on Guardian, who will get the drop onto Modi. And maybe the plant afterwards. He's got 15 seconds. He's gone for the fake. He's desperately hoping that someone goes for the peek. He will get the plant, but he won't get the clutch. Valda intelligently rushes him as soon as that plant goes down. 11 each.
Plenty of time to fuse that bomb, so no risk at all on this one. We'll see Heroic. It'll go up to an 11-11 scoreline. Again, no one really showing up as the frontrunner here. Na'Vi looking good to round the comeback, but as soon as they take the lead, Heroic striking right back again. Here's the thing, though, with Heroic, too. They are going to have to spend all of this cash to reinvest, as will Na'Vi, granted. And we have to see how far down Na'Vi invests on players like Guardian and Seized. So with this basically means reset territory to either squad. And this is, you know, when you look at the scorelines right here, this could potentially be game-ending, depending on the next gun round, with whoever takes control of this round.
This certainly feels like it could be the fulcrum point of this game. The tipping balance, one way or another. But it's very possible that we're going to see a battle down to the wire. I wouldn't be surprised if this even went to overtime from this point. The way these teams have been duking it out and trading rounds.
Yugi.
But it seems like we're going to have quite a slow round again.
He had himself an angle to work with there, too, on the jump back, but unfortunately, shot was not connected well. Nico, though, does find his first kill. In the meantime, Guardian is able to trade, and he even baits another shot from Yugi. Now, Edward is going to be able to push himself back into the site here, but he's the only one. His teammates were held back for a couple of extra moments here, and Guardian just peeks right into the op shot from Yugi, so he picks up 1 and 2 more. Guardian and Flamey both go down to him. Madi chaining together the third, and it's Seized now. that sits alone, pretty disconnected from all of this stuff that's been going on back over there at the long entry point. There's not a whole lot left that he can do either.
Jeez, I honestly thought that would be a slow round. I thought that Na'Vi would be fairly disciplined and try and really pick apart Heroic, but they just go for a rush and get completely swatted away. You can see that Seized the whole time was sat on balloons. He was waiting and anticipating that his teammates would get the better of the trade, and then he'd have a player from the CTs coming through connector, trying to rotate around the back of his team and neutralize them. So his position is basically useless, and so is his chances of getting this clutch now. So Heroic will just move ahead a little bit to a 12-11, and he's trying to save as a result of what we talked about before, with the very sketchy economy of Na'Vi.
Yeah, unfortunately things will remain unstable for them. Just like on the CT side that we had in the first half here, due to this loss. So they are going to have to reset, and that's going to give huge credit to Heroic to be able to really swing back ahead here and try to propel up towards 16 rounds. For Madi, though, he'll just sit back and wait, but he won't be able to catch any extra peek from Seized, as he's focused on saving that gun, since Na'Vi are now completely broken, and they will have to full eco more than likely in this round.
Yeah, it will be the lone AK on Seized. Let's see if he can be the legend that Na'Vi are looking for. I mean, Heroic's economy in itself still hasn't recovered fully. So even if they don't win this round, if Seized can put down a load of pain and suffering onto his adversaries, or simple with that deagle, that could be enough to get them the longer haul. But we talked about it being a fulcrum point, and Heroic certainly have the odds tipping in their favour at this stage. They need to make sure they don't slip over or trip over their own shoelaces. They've got to convert from this point. They can't afford any mistakes.
Na'Vi are basically just trying to group themselves up for more than likely what could turn itself into a push towards short A. The problem is, though, as you look at the minimap, there is a lot of players close to this site. 2 in heaven for Heroic, and those are about a 5-second rotate away. 2 more actually on the site already. And then the only one that's really fully committed inside here is going to be Snappy. I don't think he's heard Seized jumping over to his right there. I still think he's quiet on the terrain as he's boosted up on top of Flamey. But Seized is actually going to see nothing in the bomb site. So this may call for Na'Vi to go back down here instead and just execute through construction.
It's really interesting how these two teams are different on their defensive sides. They're very passive. I mean, they have no one around Monster, nobody on B itself. It's more of this long hold from Heaven, from Graffiti. Na'Vi were up close on the pillars. They were just in the water behind the site. They were playing double on short. They were playing double in Monster. Very aggressive holding positions. But Heroic don't seem to want any part of that. 20 seconds left, and Na'Vi are about to execute on B.
Seized leads the charge with that AK, but immediately he's found out by Madi and Valde over in the corner here. We haven't even seen the peek from the CT Cubby. They're firebombing the site right now, as we can see HEs and Molotovs going all over the place. Guardian did pick up that first kill against Snappy. Madi finding its second trade, and now the collapse comes in. 5 quick kills, all in favor of Heroic, and Na'Vi only with 1 trade against Snappy.
That was awesome to watch. Like a catapult just full of these fireballs on the site with 10 seconds. There was no hope for Na'Vi to get a bomb plant down. Maybe another reason why they did hold off very passive is they realized that it would be some kind of an eco, and it wouldn't be really smokes or anything, so they could just throw those mollies from long range and effectively hold them at arm's distance. But Na'Vi right back into this with a bite. It will not include an AWP. And Guardian is going to be running with the AK-47 instead. This does allow them 4 smokes and a few flashes, though, to execute with.
And for Na'Vi themselves, most, again, are just hanging out over here at the outside of short A entry point. You can see them wanting to test long a little bit, but they're cautious of everything at this point, since it's such a delicate round for them. They've been able to buy into this one, but they don't have a lot of utility. They basically are just getting the minimum amount of gunpowder to be able to push up to the bomb site, and then they have just enough smokes for an execute here too. It's basically right at the borderline of them actually being able to validate this purchase here, but if they lose it, again, that's sending Heroic even closer to the match point, and Na'Vi aren't unfortunately going to try and close that gap any further, as they will have to save again. Yugi connecting this shot, but it is through the tiling here, so it's not going to get the full kill. Only brings him down to 20 HP.
Oh, flashbangs on point. Eco will be sprayed down. AK trades hands. Back into the hands of the terrorists again. Modi, who's done a pretty solid job from the same position quite a few times will go down after only getting one player this time around. But this time we are also going to have a connector push. Typically, C's have been watching the back. Not the case, and they do get punished. Seized connects the headshot onto Yugi, though, through bank. Now the remaining 2 CTs are both coming from behind. It's all on Valda in a 1-on-2.
And Valde's going to swing himself in here pretty quickly, buying him the smoke as well to go up on top of the bomb. He's got it covered. Got to be careful, though, because they know where that's positioned at. He's going to swing up. He gets that first kill, and he naded the hell out of Seized before, but Seized goes right up there and gets the instant headshot against Valde from inside of the smoke. So it's Na'Vi that do close out and close the gap once again.
That's raw confidence by Seized as well. There was enough time that Valda could have tickled the bomb and faked it and basically done the same thing again. And with Seized being so low, he had to have utmost confidence that he could land that shot instantly without being returned on. Incredibly close. And that could be another one of those fulcrum points that we were talking about, because now Heroic are back into a 5-7, a UMP. And, well, if they lose this round, it could be Na'Vi even taking the lead.
It's Na'Vi again that play it very slow on the opener, though. Very, very passive beginnings to this. Seized obviously testing the waters a little bit there by Monster, just spraying into that usual paneling. Not going to get anything with it. And on the Heroic side of things, we take a look at their buy. They're going to have to scrap things together and hope that they can catch this hit before it actually begins. Na'Vi, though, after they do play downstairs a little bit, they go back into a pretty heavy long push, actually. We've got 3 of their guys moving in for control here right now, while still keeping Simple watching in connector, and the bomb in the hands of Seized is now starting to push its way out from the fountain here in towards Short A, which hasn't been checked out before, so obviously there is a method to the madness as to why they're playing this so slowly. They're just being cautious, as normally they're going to have a couple guys from Heroic camping around here.
I do fear that Heroic may be showing too much respect to Na'Vi. They are a great team, of course, but by constantly playing very passive like this, it's getting a bit predictable, and I think that Na'Vi are getting to a point like a fever pitch where they can get these opening trades going in their direction. Yugi, though, will land the first shot. That flash is on point. It doesn't allow Seized to really peek anything, and Nico comes through with a kill of his own. It seems the passive play is going to work for now. It's going to continue to be the case. Yes, it will. Simple. And they won on 4, and that is unreal. Considering the weapons they had, the way the kills came down, well, Heroic have just swept aside Na'Vi, who are now in absolute broken territory. $1,400 on Flamey and Guardian.
And it is reset time now, again, as we mentioned before. I think this is going to be a bit of a late one, but it is going to be, I believe, a tactical pause from Na'Vi. A much-needed one at that, as they're kind of up against the wall here now, with just their losing bonus by picking up that round. Just one more ago. Oh, and they're going to go for it.
Yeah, I think they're just not interested in playing for the draw. They want to try and cut down Heroic and then go for sort of 2 force buys as opposed to 1 if they lose this. It's also possible as well. Sometimes you'll see teams like Na'Vi do this, where 1 player will kind of force buy with an AK and they have a bit of power to play with and the rest won't. But no, they're all going to go for this one here. They're all going to go for Tech-9s, Kevlars, and then obviously the AK onto Flamey, but Simple only with a P250. This is almost last chance saloon now for Na'Vi. They've had 2 rounds in the last 5 that have been of critical importance, and that last one maybe was the most important. Round 26. It could have been them taking the lead after going 13 each, with Heroic completely broken. Instead, they have a 2-round deficit, which could easily turn into 3.
Yeah, it's looking like we might see something very fast-paced here at all. The Molotov actually does not, it bounces through the Molly itself there, so the smoke doesn't diffuse it in the way that they would have hoped, so Edward's going to end up losing about half of his HP. But look, they just walk back in. All the presence from Heroic is up in heaven, so they actually can't stop them from taking platform control. Snappy 2 is stuck back. The good thing for Heroic is they do know they're here, so there's going to be a really fast rotation to try and move in and stop this hit from being a success. They've gotten into the site, but at the same time, you look at Simple. He's lining up a flank against these guys, but Mahdi also wrapping back around towards bank. He may be able to spot this. I think Simple saw Mahdi's head a second ago. So he's going to wait to see if Mahdi swings back at it. If he can find that kill, that's going to be great. He secured the site for himself right now over on the bomb site downstairs. In the meantime, Nico finding one more kill. Simple finally being patient here, but gets the one tap. Unfortunately, over-aggressive. He pushes up too far against Yugi there. Loses his life to it, and now it's down to 2 from Na'Vi. Flamey's going to be trying to hold off and stem the tides. He can get 1, but he loses his teammate now at the hands of Valde, and he's going to pick up the last kill as well. There it is. Heroic getting up to map point now, and Na'Vi, well, they're going to be broke.
I've got to say, even though Na'Vi lost that round was 6 or 7 in the making. If you cast your mind back to the last time they had pistols, they went on B site, and we saw this carpet of fire being put on the site. This time they went straight in. They faked it out. They tried to get Heroic to throw all their nades on and effectively fake as if they were trying to plant, and then rotated and had Simple, as the over-rotations have been a consistent feature of Heroic CT side. Simple just walks onto A site with his P250 and tries to get behind Heroic. It was genius shot calling, but the downside is that Heroic were landing the shots. They'd landed a couple of massive nades that took down players. But I love that tactic. Meanwhile, in this round, Na'Vi are going to have a better buy, 4 assault rifles, and they're going to get a 2-for-1 trade in their favor.
VoDs just blind peeking Monster after how aggressively they played in that last round. That was probably not the most well-advised move to do that, as unfortunately he gets knocked out with not too much besides intel being gained off of it. Snappy, though, waiting in an aggressive position, too, over here by Construction. A bit cautious of a push through Monster, but he will be able to safely evacuate deeper into the B-bomb site now. He's done a good job here. He's evened things out now and brought us back down to a 3v3. Na'Vi having Monster control, but still a bit uneasy regarding if they actually want to go forward back into this bomb site.
3 map points. Heroic on the very precipice of looking down on Na'Vi after conquering them. Seized. He's going to be going around the back of Nico, but I don't think he's going to get the drop on him. Yeah, Nico's already around the corner towards the A side now on short. But Seized is going to continually apply the pressure and push down. There's 40 seconds. I think the end goal here is to try and get the site of B locked down and have Seized push through onto A around the back of them. I really do feel that's going to be the play here. Like, Seized trying to get into heaven and rain down from behind onto the B defenders. But then this is all down to whether Guardian and whether Simple can exit their way from short and get onto B side. If one of them dies, this tactic could completely whiff. But instead, Seized is in heaven and he's sprayed down onto Snappy. Patience is a virtue. Yuki comes back with a frag, and a second one as the peaks come in, and even though the bomb gets planted, Simple in a horrible position, and Yuki has clutched around by himself as they peek him one by one, and Heroic, they will take down Na'Vi. 2 losses in a row, they're back to 2-2, and Heroic moves to 2-2.
What an unfortunate way to end that one there, too. I mean, you said it perfectly. Just peeking them one by one, they fed him those kills at the end. So Yugi getting the easy 3K at the end there, closing it out for Heroic, and they're going to go up 16-12 after everything is said and done. The groups continue to impress over here at IEM, and, well, that, as I just said, it does bring these teams back down to the same record, and I don't think they're going to be the only ones. Let me take a quick refresh here and see where exactly we're standing at. As we take a look at it, North 2-1, Na'Vi 2-1, VP 2-2, Cloud9 2-1, and that is, well, actually, no, excuse me, Na'Vi's going to be 2-2 now, but now Heroic joins with these other teams, and they're also going to be up at 2 wins currently. So there's 5 teams with 2 wins. I don't know where exactly the game from the other stream is sitting at currently, so let me take a quick look at that, and we'll see how exactly their scoreline is looking over there. I'm just waiting for it to load up for us, and then it's tied currently at 11-11. So be sure to go ahead over to that stream, guys. That one is very important to figure out what exactly the groups are going to be looking like as we go into the final stage. There's 3 games still to be played within that final stage, and those games are C9. C9 taking on Na'Vi, North taking on SK, and Heroic taking on VP. We don't exactly know which game we're going to be doing on this stream yet, but we're going to be reporting back once we have that game and once we're loaded into the server. So stick around for it, and we'll be bringing it back to you as soon as we do have that. In the meantime, you can go ahead over to the main stream and check out the action that's still going on there between North and Cloud9. We'll be back in just a little bit here, though, folks. Once again, this is the IEM Katowice group stages. Group B still being played out here.